One of the things that you need to figure out as a highly conscious individual is how to deal with the matrix. The matrix doesn't really like highly conscious people. If you are very conscious, you are really a threat. That means that you're going to see through the illusion. When you are being manipulated, you'll see that you are being manipulated. When you are being lied to, you'll see that you're being lied to. When you are being forced to do things that no human should be forced to do, you'll see that you are being forced to do things that no human should be forced to do. When you're not free, you'll be able to see that you're not free. When you're being taught nonsense, you'll be able to see that you're being taught nonsense. When you're working a shitty job, you'll be able to see that you're working a shitty job. You'll be able to see if something is wrong. And because of that, the matrix doesn't like you. You are really a threat. It seems to me that the matrix has a way of figuring out who's a highly conscious individual. Like if you're a highly conscious person, the matrix will have a way of locating you. And you will go through a lot. You would find yourself facing challenges that you will also realize that these are the kind of challenges that you should be facing. Like it won't make sense to you that you'll be facing the challenges that you'll be facing. You'll be facing these challenges that you'll be facing because the matrix wants to discourage you. Right? The matrix doesn't want you to be strong. You know how people are when they're traumatized. They become weak. They start to feel afraid, right? They stop becoming what they're supposed to be because they're afraid. They start to protect themselves. So when you're protecting yourself like this, you're not really doing much other than protecting yourself. You're protecting yourself. So the matrix has a way of bringing you down so that you don't bring it down. It has a way of identifying people who are very conscious. Not everyone is conscious. If you have had conversations with a lot of people, like deep conversations with a lot of people, you'd realize that people are not operating at the same level of awareness. Some people are really, really stupid. You could tell them something that really makes sense and they won't get it. We have to understand that. Or be like, if a cow was trying to communicate with a bird, like they're not operating at the same level of consciousness. Some people, even though they understand your language, they won't really understand what you really say. Like they won't really get you. Listen, if people were operating at the same level of consciousness, we would reach the same conclusions. I want you to understand that. Because we would all be seeing the same things. I do understand that people grew up in different places, they speak different languages, they've experienced life differently, but still, 2 + 2 is 4. If a person tries to explain to you something that you might not really understand, but they explain it to you in a way that actually makes sense, you're supposed to get it if you can get it, right? Maybe a cow will not be able to, understand that 2 + 2 is 4. Even though that is what is true. So not everyone is operating at the same level of awareness. Some people are really conscious when they look at a situation. They see the truth. They see the truth about that situation. Right? Some people, when they look at a situation, they start to make shit up that might not really explain the situation. It's just like that. But some people, when they look at a situation, like, oh, okay, this is what's actually going on. We are not operating at the same level of consciousness. If you are a highly conscious individual, the matrix won't like you. See, the world doesn't work the way that we think it works, right? Like, the world doesn't reward those who are right. It actually punishes those who are right. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why the people that you know are selfish, the people that you know don't care about others, these are the people that keep on winning. They're lucky. They're not just winning because people like them. You know, people were programmed to like those who are selfish, yes, but they keep on winning because the matrix itself wants people to play the game that way. They must be selfish. So if you're gonna be here and you want to be a good person, the matrix is gonna be like, whoa, who are you? And it knows that those who are operating at a high level of consciousness, these people, because they see things as they are, they're going to be fair, right? When you see things as they are, you're going to be fair to people. You are going to focus on doing what is actually right. And that's what's going to make you feel good, right? See, when you're operating at a very low level of consciousness, doing the right thing ain't going to make you feel good. You're going to feel like you lost something. When you treat people so well, you're going to feel like you are losing something. But when you're operating at a very high level of consciousness, you just want to be fair. You want to be fair to everyone. Remember, the matrix benefits a lot from our suffering. That's why we suffer. Human beings do not want to suffer, and they wouldn't feel like life is meaningless if they weren't suffering. I know some people, want to believe that if there was no suffering, people would just be bored. No, they wouldn't be. You might say there were times in the past where humans weren't safe because they felt like they would get attacked by animals, or they would get attacked by people from other tribes, and people weren't depressed at the time. But what you must understand is that they weren't depressed because they were focusing on themselves and focusing on what makes them happy, right? If you live in a small tribe, you can look out for one another, right? So you can focus on what's best for the tribe, what's best for everyone in the tribe. Like, it will be very easy. You'll be working together. Right now, the world has changed. So even if we're safe, you don't wake up in the morning and be like, hey, I might get attacked by a lion. Things ain't working out for us. Like, things ain't working out for most people. They don't have the support that the people who lived in the past had. You can wake up and you're completely alone, no one to help you. You just gotta try to find a job, and you find that even if you do find a job, you don't really like it. Everyone doesn't like you there. People are just forcing themselves to work together. No one is really happy. No one enjoys that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's making people depressed. So if things became worse and we felt unsafe, we would feel much worse, right? It's not like we would feel better. But like, yeah, now I feel more alive because I don't feel safe. But no, things are just bad. So humans do not want to suffer at all. There isn't a human being that actually wants to suffer. We suffer because we live in a world of suffering. And we've gotten used to that. We've gotten used to suffering. That's why we justify suffering. That is why we think that suffering is normal. Like, it makes sense that people suffer. Like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense that people ain't happy in a world that they didn't have to be brought into. You know? It doesn't make sense that we feel like that's good. That's how things should be. We feel like the Matrix was very brilliant for, making things the way that they are. No. So realize that if you're a very conscious person, the whole Matrix is going to be against you. It's going to start when you're young. Your peers, they ain't going to like you very much. Your teachers, they ain't going to like you, even if you're not really doing much, even if you're not saying anything. The Matrix has identified you because you're operating at a very high level of consciousness. So you are a target from the beginning. So it's programming people to, attack you so that you'll be traumatized. So as you get older, you keep on experiencing nonsense and you become more and more traumatized. By the time you are conscious enough to actually do things that can affect the Matrix in a negative way, you're like this. You're scared because of how you have experienced life. That's what I've noticed about a lot of people who are highly conscious. I've communicated with a lot of people who are very, very conscious. They think they're sensitive. You're not sensitive, you're conscious. There's a difference, all right? I realized that they've experienced life in a way that a lot of people don't really experience life. Like, they've had these weird challenges that a lot of people don't have to deal with. It made me realize that no, they weren't doing anything to deserve that. They weren't attracting that. Right? They weren't attracting the nonsense that they had to deal with. Something wanted them to suffer so that they will be traumatized. So that they won't become what they would become if they didn't go through the nonsense that they went through. That is why I was telling y'all that you should stop giving a fuck. Why? Because the more you give a fuck, the harder things will be for you. The harder it will be for you to handle the problems that you deal with. So it needs to get to a point where you understand that you are in the Matrix, and the Matrix doesn't really reward highly conscious people. So you must just stop giving a fuck so that you won't get triggered, right? Because you keep on getting triggered because you give a fuck. So if you stop giving a fuck, you don't get triggered. So things happen. And but like, it is what it is. You start thinking about things that have traumatized you. What you do is you let your thoughts float. Are you able to do that? I might actually make a video like telling you how to actually do that. So you think about things that have happened in the past that make you feel down. You just let these thoughts float. They're there, they're there, but you just let them float. Eventually you forget about those thoughts and start thinking about what you want to think about. Whenever you catch yourself thinking about some shit that is bringing your spirit down, let your thoughts float. Do not pick a thought and be like, okay, now I want to go down this rabbit hole. No. You let these thoughts float. You are aware of these thoughts, right? But you let them float. Eventually, they'll disappear. Like, do that. Like, what I'm telling you is really gonna help you, like every single time. Don't go down a rabbit hole that's gonna make you feel bad or that's gonna bring your spirit down. Don't ever do that. Like from now on, don't ever do that. You sometimes you will do that because you are addicted to doing that, but as soon as you catch yourself doing that, pull yourself back. Like, don't bring your spirit down by focusing on what this matrix is trying to make you focus on to bring your spirit down. Because when your spirit is down, you are not that, you are powerless. You see, you're not as powerful as you can be. That's when you can't really do anything. That's when you're afraid. That's when everything scares you, because your spirit is down. So do not think thoughts that will bring your spirit down. Even when things happen, you see, this matrix, it's gonna make things happen. Especially if you take my advice, you'll see things are gonna start happening. Things that are supposed to trigger you. So even when things happen, realize that is the matrix just trying to fuck with your mind. So pull back, because you don't have to care. You do not have to give a fuck. Some people think that if you don't give a fuck, you are going to become like a psycho, or you're going to become a narcissist, and you're going to be selfish. No. You're already too conscious to be selfish. You're already too conscious to be a narcissist. You're already too conscious to be a psycho. You still do things right, but you don't allow the matrix to bring you down. You don't allow the matrix to bring your spirit down. You do not choose to worry. Like, okay, this happened. Then you let the thought float. It is what it is. If it's something that I need to deal with, fine, I'll deal with it, but I'll still not go down any rabbit hole. Unless it's really necessary. But I know that most people don't go down rabbit hole that actually bring their spirit down because they have to. They're just addicted to going down this rabbit hole. It's crazy. You find that a person just woke up in the morning, nothing happened, and they just start thinking about things that bring their spirit down, and they focus on these things, and their whole day is ruined. Nothing triggered these thoughts. They just start somehow that a negative thought came into their awareness, and they're like, oh, now I'm gonna stick with this. Stop doing that. It doesn't help you at all. You don't become stronger, you don't become wiser by focusing on these negative thoughts. Like, that brings your energy down, that brings your spirit down, that makes you less powerful. So really, you gotta stop giving a shit if really you are serious about freeing yourself from this matrix, because that is important, right? You've got to set yourself free. It's a false reality. So if you keep on stressing yourself about the little shit, you're not freeing yourself. You're allowing the matrix to affect you so deeply that you start to become depressed because of it. Realize that you're going to be attacked because you are a highly conscious person. You are a threat to the matrix. That's what happens. You see, if you've watched any Matrix movie, you realize that the people who were getting attacked are the people who were conscious, people who were aware of what was actually going on. Those are the people that were being attacked. The average person wasn't getting attacked at all. It was only the people that the Matrix felt like could be could actually cause problems. Like when Neo was first approached by Smith and his guys, they weren't really sure that he was the one, but they, because of how he behaved, because of his intelligence, they kind of thought, hey, maybe, you know what I mean? But they weren't really sure. But that's the thing. The Matrix will keep on attacking those who are highly conscious, because they kind of like hold the key to our freedom. Right? Like if you're not conscious at all, how the heck do you win in this matrix? Of course you need to be conscious. Of course you need to watch how this matrix works and actually figure out what is actually true. But you can only figure that out if you are conscious. Not if you operate like an NPC. You believe everything that you're told. You can see that we're being lied to in so many different ways, but believe in everything that you're told. You can see that what you've been told doesn't make sense, but you still believe in. You know what I mean? How do you free yourself? It's not possible. You are focusing on what the matrix wants you to focus on. That's it. You're distracting yourself with whatever nonsense the matrix wants you to distract yourself with. So if you are conscious, you are really a threat, because not that many people are conscious. You might find that in your family you are the only one who's actually conscious, who actually asks the right questions, you know, questions that a human should ask themselves in a world that they do not understand. You grow up in a religious household, no one is asking you any questions. Hey, God said this, God said you mustn't do that. Yeah. You try to ask them, hey man, like how do you know that God say that? Hey, it says so in this book, but it was written by people. Hey, it was inspired by God. How do you know it was inspired by God? I mean, when you read it, you can feel God's presence. How do you know that you're not deceiving yourself? You're telling yourself that you're feeling God's presence, but you're not feeling anything. Like you are actually hypnotizing yourself. Like if you watch a movie, like there's some movies that I've watched that really made me feel in ways that they've never felt before. There are songs that I've listened to that made me feel the way that I've never felt before. There are books that I don't really read books, but I've listened to audiobooks. And it made me feel like a way that I've never like really felt before. Does it mean that, you know, there was a God that, you know, decided to touch me because I was reading this? No. People don't understand how their own brains work. That's the problem. Yeah, I felt this. You don't realize that these books were written to make them feel that way. You know, you're in a church and you're touched by the Holy Spirit. Yeah, those songs are supposed to make you feel that way. I've never been touched by the Holy Spirit, but I can also tell you that when I'm listening to those songs, I get it. Like I can see that the vibe is different. They're very good songs. I go to the club, the vibe is different there also. Like, you know, you feel a bit different. So people just don't know how their brains work. Because they don't know how their brains work, they believe that it has to do with God. Like, here's the thing. People who are not conscious, because they cannot think at a very high level of awareness, they don't know a lot of things. So they assume that other humans cannot know what they don't know. Other humans cannot understand what they do not understand. So they just tell themselves, like, okay, because I cannot think beyond this level, no human being can think beyond this level. So that means that whatever is above this level is a mystery. And it has something to do with God. But if you're conscious enough to go above that level, you realize that, It's like people back then who believed that the sun was God. Some people worship the sun, or people who worship the moon, or if you read about the Anunnakis, humans believe that the Anunnakis were God because they were very technologically advanced. It's just, it has to do with what you know and what you do not know. Where I live, when there's like a storm, like a serious storm, they believe that there's a snake that's looking for its eggs because white people took its eggs, and you wonder how they even believe these things. Like, it has to do with what you know, like at the level, like the level which you're able to think. I remember in 2015 there was this like storm that destroyed a lot of things, and someone made a Photoshop where they showed like a dragon in the sky, and people believed that shit was real. I remember my sister came up to me and she was like, "Yeah, look, there was a dragon. They took a." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and I'll try to explain that no, it's not. It's photoshopped, obviously. I mean, don't you think that if they took a photo of an actual dragon, everyone would be talking about it? Like, it would be, a lot of people would have seen it. Obviously, it would be like a big deal because that's crazy. But now, it took years for her to understand that yes, that thing was photoshopped. But that's how people are where I live. Like, they believe weird things. If you sleepwalk at night, find you outside, you are a witch. They can burn you alive for real. Do I understand that people can suffer from dementia? Like, all people can suffer from dementia. I mean, yeah, there are strange cases, but still, we have unalived a lot of innocent people because of our ignorance. What you must understand is that people are not operating at the same level of awareness, and if you are operating at a very high level of awareness, you are a threat. You might ask me, why does the matrix not unalive those who are highly conscious? It doesn't need to, because people are cowards, and when you are very conscious, you kind of like power the matrix in some way, kind of like how Neo was important in the matrix. Like, he had to be there. Like, people are cowards. They're not gonna stand up for themselves. They're not gonna be real. They're not gonna be a real threat because of what the matrix has done to them. But also, you are needed. It's like if you were in a dream and you were lucid. You're a serious problem. But you need it because the dream depends on you. So your own projections ain't gonna like try to take, like, they're gonna try to take you out, but not in ways that you would expect. They need you. Consciousness is something very important. A lot of people take for granted the fact that they're self-aware. Like, that's a big deal. You're aware of your existence. That's not something that can be created. Can't create awareness. How do you create awareness? How do you make something that is unconscious conscious? You can't create awareness. Awareness is important. Like, consciousness is really, really important. So you're important in this matrix, especially if you are Very, very conscious. So, of course, they can't get rid of you. You just need to be more brave. Stop living in fear, because the things that you're afraid of now won't really affect you in a bad way. Like, you are afraid of things that you're afraid of because you've been programmed to be afraid of these things, or you've been programmed to be afraid of what could happen, but not because what could happen is bad, but because you've been programmed to to not want what could happen to happen. It has to do with how you've been programmed, really. But you shouldn't be living in fear. You should try your best to be courageous. You should take risks, right? You should do what you want to do. That's how you train your subconscious. That's really, really important. But that's also how you beat the matrix. That's how you deal with the matrix. The matrix is going to try to make you afraid, and you be like, okay, I'm still going to do what I want to do even if I'm afraid, because it's what I want to do. If you're still going to live in fear, if you're still going to dwell on things that are bringing your spirit down, the matrix is just going to play with you in so many different ways, because, well, that's what it does. You're going to be like an easy target because you're not protecting yourself. You don't understand that the matrix is attacking you. You don't understand that when you wake up, the thoughts that come into your head, the matrix is trying to attack you. When you go out, the things that happen, the matrix is trying to attack you. Look at reality as a mind game. Like, it's a mind game. You are in control of your mind, right? You can choose what to think. You can choose what to focus on. You do have that power. If you allow the matrix to choose for you what you should focus on, it's gonna keep on bringing your spirit down. And when your spirit is down, you're very easy to manipulate. But if you realize when the matrix is trying to manipulate you, and you're like, I'm not gonna focus on this nonsense. It is what it is. I'm gonna focus on what I want to focus on. You always be here. You must strive to always be here and never allow yourself to feel down. Never allow your spirit to be brought down, because that's when you be very easy to manipulate. That's when you actually be vulnerable. So whenever the matrix try to make you focus on things that are going to bring your spirit down, it's just, you don't pay that much attention. Whenever the matrix creates situations that are going to make you stress, you win by not stressing. You win by looking at the situation and being like, okay, if you can go to sleep, you just go to sleep. Like, teach yourself to not stress. Stressing can be very addictive, all right? Like, you can actually become addicted to stressing so much that you want to stress. So when there are no situations that are making you stress, you don't feel good. You want to stress, you want to feel something, because you've You became addicted to stressing. So if you're addicted to stressing, you gotta do a lot of work. Make sure that you don't stress anymore, because things are gonna keep on happening, and you don't benefit anything by stressing. It's not like you come up with solutions. In fact, people come up with solutions when they don't stress. Do you realize that? In fact, the best solutions that you've ever come up with are solutions that you've come up with when you were no longer stressing. Like when something happens and you start to stress very deeply, at the time, solutions won't come into your head. They won't come into your awareness. The same way that when you're trying to like really remember something that you forgot, it's not easy for you to remember it. Like if you really forget something and you try to remember it, it's not easy to remember. But if you stop thinking about it, think about something else, you'll remember it. It's actually crazy how it happens. Is you try to remember something and then you don't remember it, and you're like, okay, let me just think about my favorite TV show. And after some few minutes, you remember what you were trying to remember. But if you continue to try to remember what you're trying to remember, you just wouldn't remember it. So you don't come up with the best ideas when you're stressing. You come up with the best ideas when your spirit is, is high. Not when your spirit is low. That's when you make messed up decisions. Yes, you can be in a situation that's bad, and people can say, yeah, his spirit is down, but and then you come up with like really great solutions, and they think that that's because your spirit was down, but you find that your spirit wasn't down. You were just in a bad situation. When your spirit is truly down, it's hard to make the right decisions. We tend to make mistakes when our spirit is down. So never allow anything to bring your spirit down. If it requires that you don't think at all, then stop thinking. You just watch things without actually thinking, without actually creating like an inner monologue. You just observe. It's gonna be like you're meditating. You see, it's like you're detaching yourself from this matrix, and you notice that you start to feel better. That's why people who like to meditate a lot, because that does really help. If you clear like your mind, like you start feeling better. Even your heart, it beats slower. Like you start to just feel better. Like you heal yourself when you stop thinking. Because the thing is, it's not easy to stop thinking. Like even when you're sleeping, you're thinking. See, you find yourself having dreams. Like you don't really get a break. So it's important to try to not think for a while. If you are really dealing with something that it's so hard for you, you gotta always teach yourself how to deal with this matrix. Otherwise, you're gonna be like the main target all the time. The matrix is gonna know that if it wants energy, there's this person who takes everything too seriously. There's this person who takes everything personal. There's this person who is willing to go down the rabbit hole that we create for him. There's this person who likes to complain in their own head about things that are happening, and when they are complaining, they're suffering a lot. But if things happen and you're like, it is what it is, then it is what it is. Because why should you stress? Why should you be angry? Expect the matrix to be the way that it is. It's a matrix. It controls people. People are gonna suck. You don't need to be like, hey, why did this person do this? I used to treat this person this way, but they're supposed to understand this. Like, stop that. You just be like, it is what it is. Focus on what you want to focus on, because the matrix is going to use the fact that you're right to torture you. Right? You are right. You are actually right. You are more right than a lot of people, and most of them are wrong. So you can suffer because you are aware that you're right. So what if you just didn't care? Like, yeah, it is what it is. People are people. It is what it is. I'm not even going to expect much from people. I'm not going to expect people to be smart. You hear that your best friend gossiped about you, cool. You don't go like, but why are some people like that? How can a person gossip about their best friend? Oh, I can see the runners. Cool. You don't even think about it. Sometimes, and I've noticed this so many times, sometimes if you don't care about something that happens, the situation fixes itself. Let's say you lose your money. You look for it for a while and you're like, damn, I don't know what the heck it is. Let me watch my favorite TV show, or let me read a book, or let me listen to music. Let me watch Benedictine. Let me talk to my friend. Look on top of the table and be like, what the fuck? I was looking for that, and I even looked on top of the table and it wasn't there. But it is what it is. Like, things do change in this matrix, bro. Situations do actually change. And what do I mean? I don't mean it the way that you think. You think I mean it. Like, I mean, things can be changed. Like, things that have happened can be changed, and we don't even realize that. The matrix is weird. Like, it's not what you think it is. So one of the biggest mistakes that you've made was assuming that the world is what you think it is, and it works the way that you think it works. It doesn't. There are a lot of things that are going on that you're not even aware of. Things that are already happening that you are not even aware that these things are actually possible, because you believe that the world is exactly what it seems, right? No, it isn't. Things happen because the matrix wants these things to happen, and for a reason. And the matrix does make mistakes, so that's why it does change the past sometimes, and you don't even realize that. The same way, and this is what's funny, when you're dreaming, something can happen. Let me give you this simple example. I could dream about this thing, but it's black. And then, I continue to dream and continue to drink water, and it turns white. And I don't even realize that it was black and it turned white, and then start to believe that it was white all along. That's how this matrix works. The past does change, but you don't realize that it has changed. I mean, even the fact that people grow up, that's weird. Right? The fact that people grow, you don't even see them growing up. Right? You can have a child that you are raising. You don't see them growing up, but they become bigger. After some few years, they are very big, but you don't notice that. Live in a matrix. So the world doesn't work the way that you think it works. And you must try to understand how it works. Yes, the matrix can always find new tricks but you must also be able to adjust. You see, once you figure out something, and this is something that I realized about this matrix, once you figure out some secrets about it, something changes. Like if you figure out how it really works, it something changes. It's like if you're playing Aviator and you figure out the patterns, something's gonna change. You can't keep on winning. It's like if you're a boxer and you're fighting a person who you could predict their moves, and they knew that. Of course, they would have to change their moves. Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe when I throw a punch, I mustn't do this and then throw a punch, because now they know that's like my technique. Or maybe I should just, like I should try something new. Maybe I shouldn't throw as many punches as I used to. Maybe I should just focus on technique. Maybe I should just, counter. Maybe that's what's gonna help me. The metrics keep on changing, but if you understand that it is some kind of a matrix and it's not what it seems, you should be able to figure out when things have changed. So this matrix does not play with your mind. I mean, it's never gonna stop as long as you are conscious in this realm. It's never gonna stop trying to like play with your mind. That's what it does. That's what it was programmed to do. Play with your mind. Make you believe things that ain't true, so that you'll stress. Make people say things that are gonna trigger your emotions, and you start to feel bad. And you ask yourself, how can they say that? Say that because you're living in the matrix. It knows your weaknesses, it knows your strength. But once you realize what the matrix is trying to do, you should be able to handle situations better. It's like if there was a person who was always trying to provoke you, and in the beginning you didn't know that they were always trying to provoke you, and they would try to provoke you, and you get angry, and you talk shit because you're angry, until someone tells you that, oh no, that person, they're just trying to provoke you for real. Like they told me that they're always trying to provoke you, because they feel good when you're angry. They like to see you angry, and then you get that, and they try to provoke you again. It won't work, because now you understand that they're provoking you because they want you to be angry, and they love seeing you angry. Now what I'm telling you is that this matrix loves seeing you angry. It loves seeing you sad. When your spirit is down, that's when the matrix is powerful. So things keep on happening that actually bring your spirit down. But if you realize that these things that are happening, that are bringing your spirit down, are happening because the matrix want these things to happen, then you know that you're not supposed to allow anything to bring your spirit down, because you really do have a choice. Reality has always been a mind game. The Matrix wants your mind, doesn't care about your body, cares about your mind. What stories do you tell yourself? That really matters. It wants you to tell yourself stories that are gonna bring your spirit down when things happen. Stories that are gonna make you feel powerless. Gotta learn how to deal with this matrix. Thank you all, guys.